Where to next? I guess we do need to go to the Ecclesia place to ask Barlow about Dracula. I don't know if we can even talk to him though. What's up here? Oh, Trista's Pass. We need to do the sketchbook here. So, actually, let's do that, yeah.
Looks delicious.
That's enough out of you. Oh god, little baby spiders. Ooh, silver ore. Sugi says that's terrifying. Hello, sir. Do you want to choke me? First try. A powerful shield glyph. We'll probably never use shield glyphs. Suki says, if he exploded into a bunch of lizards, I would have lost it. That's someone's kink. No. Jeez, how much life do you have, my man? Oh god, a mimic. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god, we got murdered. Well, that wasn't good for us. Get that stanky leg out of here. Alright, let's kill the other one before we wake up the angry chest. Woo! Made me sweat. Oh, he doesn't spit out anything good. I was hoping he would spit out like a cool item. Oh man, this is so easy. Surfaloppy Bits says FMK, Lizard from Spider-Man, Reptile from Mortal Kombat, Killer Croc from Batman. Probably Smash. Well, kill Reptile from Mortal Kombat because he cosplays as a twink. If he promises to never go human again, then marry Reptile from Mortal Kombat, fuck Lizard from Spider-Man, and kill Killer Croc. If it's one of the versions of Killer Croc that looks actually like a hot reptile, then like marry and fuck and do everything with Spider-Man, Lizard, and Killer Croc. Create pillars of ice. This music is going unnecessarily difficult. Or unnecessarily difficult, unnecessarily hard. Where is it? Where'd it go? What was it called? Shoot, where is it? Oh, there we go. There we go, okay.
Freeze over!
Freeze over! Imagine if that was a Mimic too. Oh my god, what? Lover's Ring, woo. That's an unnecessarily difficult thing to get on. Sir Flavi that says, I would smash the Lizard from the new Spider-Man game. He's a dilf. Yeah, the new Lizard is great. Honestly, the PS5 Spider-Man series is excellent. And even with my small complaints about just how overstuffed Spidey 2 was and how unnecessary the Venom said, like, it just needed to pick one. Like, it needed to pick one thing, and it did 7. Not that it's a bad game or anything, it's actually really excellent, and I enjoyed 100%ing it very much. But even with all those complaints aside, highly recommend playing Spider-Man PS4/PS5 and Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2. All of the Insomniac Spiders-Man are excellent. Just very worth playing, very good games. Hello, Father. Hey, this is what I was looking for. Glad to have found that. Kettle says, I should get a PS5 again. What? Kettle? Did you fall on hard times and have to sell your PS5? What happened, my man? Normally you don't have to qualify that statement with again. What happened? This is so ominous. Kettle says, I gave it to my buddy, I was having a hard time. What a nice guy. This is a very funny way of phrasing it. Like, my dude, most people don't even have one PS5. Actually, at this point, I feel like most people who are gonna jump on that train already have. Oh, oops, I didn't need to go this far back. Oh, fuck. So, Sugi says how much longer before we see a PS6? Probably 7 or 8 years. We're in the 10-year console cycle right now. And with the PS5 Pro probably eventually coming out, it'll be a mid-gen hardware refresh. It'll be a while before we see one. So, you know, it's kind of weird to put my review of Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 into this Order of Ecclesia Let's Play, especially for the VOD watchers who aren't going to see this for like 6 months. But I guess I can just go over it now. The biggest issue with that game is that I'm not going to spoil all the stuff that happens, but it is a game ostensibly about Peter dealing, like, it is the typical Venom story of, like, Venom makes, the symbiote makes Spider-Man a better Spider-Man, like, that, like, think about the things that you could do with that, and, like, Peter not being able to balance his work-life, you know, priorities, juxtaposed against a story of Miles learning to become his own Spider-Man outside of Peter's shadow. And like Peter learning how to step away from the need to be the only Spider-Man, like learning that he has a shared responsibility, that he's not the only hero. And that's really cool. It's all, oh, the birds have a thing, interesting. That's all really good. The thing is that it is also a story about Venom. And in this universe, I do not think it is a spoiler to say, because it is introduced literally immediately, that the character that is host to the symbiote in this game originally is Harry Osborn. He is Spider-Man's best friend. And Harry's story is like, he's sick and he wants to make the world better and he wants to like heal the world. And obviously the symbiote takes advantage of this because that's what the symbiote does. And so it juxtaposes all of this with this narrative of like Miles also like trying to get over the guy who killed his dad and or get over his anger for that. And then also there's a huge undertone in the game of like rehabilitating villains. And there's also a story in there about like Harry being manipulated by the symbiote into being jealous of Miles for some reason. And you know, this ongoing issue of like Peter not being able to step away and Mary Jane's life being like not messed up but like overshadowed by how important Peter's the whole Spider-Man thing is. And like all of these individual plot threads are fine, but then the game is also about Kraven the Hunter, and the way that it bridges this gap is really messy, because on one hand Kraven is how they up the ante so that Peter's like responsibility to the city of New York is threatened, right? Like he has to fight Kraven because Kraven's really dangerous and Kraven is hunting villains and heroes. On the other hand, Kraven hunting all the villains and heroes is like what brings Miles into this conflict of like, oh no, how am I gonna, like, what is my responsibility to keeping people safe from Kraven if he is going to kill and, you know, murder bad guys who are making the city worse, including possibly the one that killed my dad. And that's interesting. But then also, it's a story about someone who is terminally ill and Kraven dealing with like mortality and the death game and the death wish. So like the narrative is just, it's so overcrowded when you could theoretically have the Peter and Miles learning to share responsibilities game as its own game, and then the Harry Osborn Death Wish, everyone wants to help but we have moral responsibilities to each other game be a completely different game where Venom is the full-time antagonist and he doesn't need to share billing with Kraven. And it's just, it's really frustrating how insanely crowded that game's narrative is. Now, I think it is a testament to that game that the narrative still ends up being as good as it is, because it is very, very good. And as a game, it's really excellent to play. That game just has the most stellar movement. It's so good. But the narrative is just extremely overcrowded and doesn't even give itself time to breathe. And if you're playing it the way that I did, which is doing every single side mission the moment that they pop up to get full narrative cohesion as you go into every breaking point, holy smokes, is the issues with the storytelling even more apparent, because you are constantly being introduced to the same concepts stretched thin across multiple avenues of discourse, basically, with the narrative. And it just becomes this like crazy clusterfuck of like, okay, so this character means this thing in this context when next to this character, but then sometimes they also are commenting on this, but only in these contexts. So like in this cutscene, these characters are friendly with each other and like provide interesting juxtaposition, but then in this context, they're like antagonizing each other thematically. But instead of it being this like deeply nuanced, like interesting thing that you sit and think about, it literally just feels like, no, these are just three games, three narratives, you know, side by side, side by side with these things. And it's a little weird. It's just a little weird. I think that the first game, even with the amount of villains that it has and the amount of ambition it had with introducing multiple elements, I think the first game's a little bit more focused, which ultimately benefits it. One of my weird, I don't want to call it a hot take, but like one of my takes is that I think ultimately the Miles Morales game is like it's like a really great DLC to a great standalone game. Because I think that the narrative in Miles Morales is really good in the moment-to-moment cutscenes, but I don't know if it is as overall cohesive as the base game. I call it the base game, but the original release, Spider-Man PS4. But ultimately, that game is really excellent, and I think that Spider-Man 2 is like a weird. It feels like a interstitial part in a trilogy of games that people will remember the first and the third and probably not remember the second as much, even though the second is definitely good and worth playing. Wow, can you guys believe how bad my luck is right now? Wearing the sequin dress, let's put on the lucky clovers. I am just never gonna get this soul. Wow, it is really just not dropping. Oh my god. Radium is here. Hello, Radium. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Alright, I just did that in case it was off screen. This episode has been 20 minutes long, and I don't think I've really done anything in it. I'm just grinding for this soul. Oh my god, it's still not dropping. Hopefully the viewers find this interesting when we get to it, because, I mean like the VOD watchers, because this is just gonna be me grinding for this soul for a while. Kettle Chip says this is the Spider-Man episode. That's so cursed. Sugi says, what's the soul give me? I don't know. That's why I want it. It's some kind of ability, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. Something owl-like? Maybe it lets me float? Oh my god, what is the drop rate on this soul? Do I need to do something to get it, or just does the fact that it drops at all mean that I can pick it up eventually? Does luck influence soul drop rate? Or glyph drop rate? Oh fuck. Oh my god. This is absolutely wild. Ugh.
Looks delicious.
Sage says the owl's glyph has a particularly low drop rate. That sucks. They should make it drop more. I'm not gonna fight this thing. Why would I do that to myself? Oh my god. But yeah, actually, you know what? I guess I can just talk about my games of the year this year in this episode to fill time while we grind. Yeah. So, my games of the year are complicated. They're very, it's a rough year for me because I haven't had a year like this since 2019. Hell yeah, never mind. I don't need to talk about this. Summon owls to soundlessly descend. Why soundlessly? Never mind, you guys aren't getting my game of the year list. Sorry, that's stupid. My games of the year list, that I'll finish my thought, is that the games, we've had a good year for games to the point that I haven't had a year this like contentious since 2019, where Disco Elysium, Control, and Pathologic 2 came out. Because holy fuck, what a year in gaming. Okay, actually, just to summarize, I might have a few of these wrong, but I think my top 10 for 2019 was Disco Elysium, Control, Pathologic 2, like Jedi Fallen Order, Devil May Cry 5. Like, there were so many good games that came out that year. Outer Wilds, I think, maybe came out that year. Just like an insane amount of games that were just all bangers. I think the Tony Hawk remakes came out that year, maybe. I don't even remember specifically, but I'd have to go find my game of the year blogs about them. But Radium says I love Outer Wilds. Yeah, all furries do, for some reason. It's a universal constant. As if you meet a furry, they love Outer Wilds. We have a really interesting year set up for us though. It's just a really unique year for games because there are so many truly excellent games, but the top 3 is really difficult to quantify for me because, and I guess I can explain my thinking behind it, which is probably gonna flame bait people, but, Simply the Burst says, I thought you meant the Obsidian game. I haven't played Outer Wilds. I should try that sometime soon. The Obsidian game is not very good. The Outer Wilds, though, is really, really good. But what I was going to say, ultimately, is my top 3 are a little complicated because each one of them would deserve the top spot in any other year. And the reason why they deserve it is like very polarizingly different. So it's like, oh, I should re-put my stuff. So just to get into it, my number 1 pick is for sure either Alan Wake 2 or Jedi Survivor. Because both of those games are really, really meaningful games that manage to construct a really interesting narrative on top of everything else that it does, right? Oh, I meant to have the strength ring. It's not just they aren't just really excellent games on their own. They are excellent games that say things and have ambitions and design their entire gameplay structure and narrative choice, not narrative choices, gameplay choices around the narrative. So like, that's insane. And that's what I really cherish in games, is that ability to like create ludonarrative harmony and do something with your design that is just more than just being a good game to play and more than just being a decent story. It's like creating ludonarrative meaning that empowers both your gameplay and your story. I think that that is a more ambitious and interesting way to utilize games as a medium than like just being a good game. And I think that's also where Alan Wake 2 really succeeds, is that like Alan Wake 2 is an awesome survival horror game, even if on, you know, the base difficulty or whatever that we played on, even if it's like a little bit easy, right? Like everything that you do in that game has imminent meaning that you inherently understand through the context of the story that it's telling you and through the choices you are making as a player, and it aligns you ludonarratively with the character that you are inhabiting. And then on top of that, it's like a triumph of technology and of presentation, and it uses its presentation in a really specific way to communicate things to you, to help you understand aspects of the gameplay and aspects of the narrative. Like, that's all really powerful stuff. And then the game that is currently in third for me is Baldur's Gate 3. And I know that's gonna make a lot of people upset, because Baldur's Gate 3 is, and I'm saying this very sincerely from the core of my soul, Baldur's Gate 3 is an incredible video game. It is a miracle that it exists. I think that it plays incredibly well, it plays ambitiously, it does really interesting things with technical systems. I think it is very well written. I do not think the fact that it has a good narrative makes it have a good ludonarrative. In fact, I don't really think the fact that Baldur's Gate 3 is a game strengthens its narrative. And I often don't think that its narrative makes me do anything different with its storytelling. And while that can change, and very likely will change as I get further into the game, because obviously I'm Let's Playing it, and and as a result, I haven't had time to finish it yet. So I'm talking about a game that I haven't finished, so that's something I hate doing. But the thing with Baldur's Gate 3 is that it is awesome to say, like, you can do all these cool things, and there's like a lot of emergent gameplay and stuff. I still don't know how how much my agency as a player is really impacting the narrative and the choices we're making in the narrative and strengthening it on that front. What I mean by that is not like choices need to matter, it needs to change my ending. Like, I don't care about that. That doesn't matter to me. That's dumb. That's a stupid thing to be upset about in a game, especially one that gives you as much choice as Baldur's Gate 3 does. Ultimately, my frustration with that game is that I feel like I could consume the very good stories in Baldur's Gate in the context of a really good actual play podcast or a really good book or an animated series about about these characters, the characters from Baldur's Gate 3. And I feel like the gameplay is like, yes, the best realization of tabletop pretty much ever to be put in a video game. And it's very emergent and you can do lots of quirky things and the system allows you a lot of agency. But I don't think that me throwing water on an enemy to make their fire go out and avoid this battle that would have started with them doesn't make me then go like, oh, that has so much symbolic meaning when Karlach tells me that she's burning up and she's, on fire on the inside and it makes her really good at battle. Like, there's no ludonarrative happening there with those choices. It's just, on one hand, there's systemically a really cool game, and then on the other hand, there's a cool story with well-written characters being told to me. The actual, there's no cohesion there between those two elements. It's just, here you go. And that's worth a lot of commendation, but it doesn't reach that ambitious secondary height of holy fuck, it's fusing these two disparate elements and taking advantage of what games are as a medium to do something really profound, which I think that Alan Wake 2 and Jedi Survivor both do really well. So, there is that to it. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of am sitting there trying to determine where I would rank those things and think about them, and it's just hard. It's hard because I think in my heart of hearts that Baldur's Gate 3 is a more an influential game that is going to change the industry forever and alter the course of gaming, basically. It has had a very profound impact on video games already. And that is worth commendation and it is worth marking and thinking about. But I don't know if it impacts me, and I don't know if the art of it will sit with me as much as something like Alan Wake 2 or Jedi Survivor did. And that's also where we get to the other really fantastic games that came out this year. The fucking Resident Evil 4 remake came out this year. That was a good game. That was a really great game. Is it doing anything ludonarratively incredible? Not really. It's just a really good game. It's just a really good remake. The Dead Space remake came out this year. Again, it was just kind of a good remake. It has some design flaws, but it's pretty good. Spider-Man 2 came out. Spider-Man 2's great. Is it doing anything super ambitious with storytelling in the way that the first game is? Not really. It's pretty good, but, that's all. That's where my heart is with some of this stuff, and it's a little bit complicated, but is what it is. Pseudo Regalia is up there. I think Pseudo Regalia does really incredible things, has really great level design, really great mechanical design, and does some really cool stuff with how the way that you navigate the world is directly related to how the world is set up. I think that's really cool. There's a lot of cool ludonarrative stuff going on there, with the fact that the game is all about a dream and embodying the person that you want to be and not running from things, giving you that amazing movement potential in a game that's ultimately about confronting things is really cool. I like that stuff. So Pseudo Regalia is up there too. Pseudo Regalia is probably my number 4 for the year if I had to pick one. RE4R would probably be number 5. Yeah. There are some other good games that we played this year that I'll have to think about. Lies of P. Lies of P actually might be number 5. Lies of P is a really good game. Ren says, shout out to Pseudo Regalia, the most pure joy I've ever heard enter your voice when playing a game. Pseudo Regalia is really special. It's a really special video game. Rishin says, Lies of P is genuinely impressive for just being a good Souls-like. Yeah, it's amazing that we finally got one. It's like, it's literally just the Jedi Survivor series, or the Jedi series, and Lies of P. This boss is easy. How much health does this motherfucker have? Jeez. Oh my god, how did he hit me there? Oh my god. Oh my god, how much health does this thing have? Oh my god, how is it still tanking all these hits? There we go. Woo! It stopped to take a sip of my drink. Oh no. Ouch. Most obvious hidden wall ever. You can't trick me. Surf Lobby Bits up there asked, how did I like the Nocturne show? I loved it. I thought it was excellent, and I'm very excited for season 2. I sense strong magic behind that door. It's Dominus. Try to relax, Shanoa. No more interfering about those Dominus pieces. By the way, it's time to explain why I gave them to you. Yeah, it's working. I feel it. But Barlow said you weren't able to bear glyphs. Did you? You let me absorb the other two just to see how it's done. Ha, you see. What's happening? And now my wish will be, Shanoa, what? This can't be. No, I've come too far. I will not be consumed. We'll settle this later, Shanoa. Wait, Albus! This is bad. Master Barlow will know what to do. Nice. I thought I could break the cross. All right, so that's interesting. We learned a little bit more there. All right, let's see. How am I supposed to get on top of that? I'm not gonna get a triple jump, am I? I don't think so. How am I supposed to get up there? Yep, that is how I'm supposed to do it. This is gonna be a fucking nightmare. Oh my god. That is cruel. Oh. Hey. Temporarily increase int in the effects of magical glyphs. I can't believe they coded that in the game. I can't believe that was there. That's nuts. And I guess for the other one over here, I'm gonna have to jump off a werewolf, or... Oh, fuck. Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna get over there. Back to town it is.